The moment I stepped past the velvet curtain in the exclusive club in South Beach, Miami, I knew I'd gone too far to turn back. Soft laughter, quiet murmurs, and bodies moving together in slow, indulgent rhythms filled the air. A firm grip found my waist, another presence pressed in behind me, and a low, commanding voice, James's, murmured at my ear. "Relax, just let go." Rachel had promised I'd love it. I wasn't sure if I believed her, but it was too late now. "I needed a man," I said, the words slipping out as I took a sip of my drink, staring at the ice melting in my glass like it held some answer. Across from me, Rachel nearly choked on her wine, coughed, then burst into laughter. "Jesus. Emily. Straight to the point tonight?" "Huh." I leaned in, lowering my voice like I was confessing a secret. "I'm done pretending. It's been too damn long. I can't take it anymore." Rachel smirked, twirling the stem of her glass. "So, what's stopping you?" I groaned. Men our age are either married, boring, or clueless. And younger guys, half of them don't even know what to do with a woman like me. Rachel tilted her head, amused. "And what exactly do you need?" "Emily." I exhaled dramatically, rubbing my temples. "I need a man who knows how to touch a woman. Someone who doesn't ask, 'Are you close?' 30 seconds in." Rachel shook her head, laughing. "Damn, someone's in crisis." "You have no idea," I said, sinking back in my chair, sinking. "And don't tell me to get on some stupid app. I don't need another guy sending me a "you up" text at 2 a.m. Rachel gave me a look, the kind that made me pause, like she knew something I didn't. "Maybe you're looking in the wrong places." I narrowed my eyes. "What's that supposed to mean?" She took a slow sip of her wine, dragging out the suspense. "I might know a way to fix your little problem." I crossed my arms. "Rachel?" She smirked. "Let's just say there's more than one way to meet the right kind of man." She took another sip, making me wait just long enough to squirm. "Rachel," I warned, "just spit it out." She leaned in, lowering her voice. "Fine, but don't freak out." I scoffed. "Please." At this point, nothing shocks me. Her smile deepened. "You know how I told you David and I keep things exciting?" I nodded. "Yeah." She shrugged. "We're open. We meet other people. Experience new things together. It's fun." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. It never came. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," she said, leaning back, watching me like she expected me to run. I should have been shocked. I should have gasped, judged, called her crazy. But instead, I gripped my glass tighter, a warm pulse of curiosity flickering under my skin. Rachel noticed. "See, you're intrigued." I didn't say that. I said, "You didn't have to," she replied, her smirk widening. "Emily, you just said you're going insane. You need this." I hesitated. "Rachel, I don't know. That's a big step." She reached across the table, her fingers grazing mine. No pressure. Just come see for yourself. You don't have to do anything. I swallowed hard. The wine too warm in my throat. The thought of stepping into her world was terrifying. But the idea of another lonely night in my empty bed felt worse. She squeezed my hand. One night. Emily, just come with me. No strings attached. I let out a slow breath. Okay, Rachel grinned. Good girl. That weekend, I did something I never thought I would. I stood in front of the mirror, smoothing my black fitted dress over my hips, my pulse racing. It was a little risky but not desperate. A dress that had sat in my closet for years, waiting for a night like this. My hands were unsteady as I spritzed perfume lightly over my neck, the scent wrapping around me like a secret. My stomach twisted, not with fear, but with something more thrilling. I exhaled slowly. But the rush beneath my skin wouldn't settle. What kind of people would be inside this Miami club? Would they be watching me? My fingers brushed the hem of my dress, warmth pooling deep in my stomach. I should have been nervous, I was, but beneath it, there was something else, something I hadn't felt in years. A buzz from my phone snapped me out of it. Rachel's text read, "Let me know when you're here." I grabbed my clutch, took one last breath, and walked out the door. 20 minutes later, I stood outside the club in South Beach alone. No neon signs, no loud music spilling onto the street, just a sleek black doorway tucked between two upscale buildings. Exclusive, hidden, with the warm Miami air carrying the faint scent of the ocean. My phone felt too warm in my hands as I typed. "I'm here." The response was instant. "Good girl. Be right out." I swallowed hard, tucking my phone away. No turning back now. My thoughts spiraled. What if someone recognized me? What if this wasn't what I thought it would be? What if it was exactly what I needed? The thought sent a slow shiver through me. The sound of heels clicking against pavement made me turn. A sleek black car pulled up to the curb, and Rachel stepped out, looking effortless as always. She spotted me and grinned. "Look at you," she teased, walking over. "You're glowing already." "Shut up," I said, rolling my eyes. But the way she looked at me made my stomach tighten. She hooked her arm through mine. "Come on, let's get inside before you overthink this." She led me toward the entrance, the doors swinging open before we reached them. A man in black stood at the doorway, his gaze sweeping over me, slow and knowing. "Welcome," he said smoothly. Rachel pressed a hand against my lower back, nudging me forward. A warm electric pulse ran through me at her touch. I stepped inside. The bar hummed with low conversations, the dim lighting casting everything in warm golds and deep ambers, the Miami nightlife pulsing just beyond the walls. The scent of aged whiskey and rich cologne mingled with the salty breeze, wrapping around me like an invitation. I lifted my glass, the burn of the liquor barely noticeable against the heat coiling low in my belly. Rachel sat beside me, relaxed, effortless, as if she'd done this 100 times. Across from us, David watched me with quiet amusement, his fingers swirling the dark liquid in his glass. "You're enjoying yourself?" he murmured. It wasn't a question. Before I could answer, a presence settled beside me, James, strong, commanding, effortlessly assured, My pulse kicked up before I even turned my head. "Join me," he said. The words steady, confident, filled with an expectation that sent a rush of warmth through my veins. Rachel barely glanced up, her lips curving in quiet approval. "Go," she said. I hesitated for half a breath, then placed my empty glass down and followed. The moment we stepped past the heavy velvet curtain, the air thickened warmer, heavier, charged with something unspoken. The lighting dipped into something more intimate, shadows flickering over plush seating, the softest strains of music curling in the background, blending with the distant hum of Miami's nightlife. James led me inside without a word, his touch a steady guide against the small of my back. Another couple was already waiting, Olivia and Ryan, their eyes drifting over me in quiet approval. Olivia lounged effortlessly, her dress slipping just enough to hint at the softness of her skin. Ryan stood behind her, his touch slow, deliberate, tracing gentle patterns across her shoulders. My breath caught as James's warm palm cupped my jaw, tilting my face upward. "Breathe," he murmured, his voice smooth, laced with quiet command. I obeyed, but it did little to steady the restless heat licking through me. His hands followed a slow path down my arms, patient, studying me, when his fingers brushed lower, pressing against the inside of my knee. I shifted instinctively, my body responding before my mind could catch up. A whisper of fabric, the brush of warmth against bare skin. His lips found my shoulder first, soft but insistent, leaving a slow trail of fire. A shudder rolled through me as his breath skimmed my throat, his fingers tracing delicate lines over my collarbone before dipping lower. Then a deeper touch. James pressed forward, his presence undeniable, testing, teasing, waiting for me to surrender. I did. My lips parted, a quiet hum slipping free as I welcomed him, letting him guide me, control the pace. A low sound vibrated in his chest, his fingers slipping into my hair as he deepened his claim. I braced myself, my hands gripping his thighs, absorbing the warmth, the weight, the steady movement that left me reeling. Behind me, the space shifted Ryan, close enough that I could feel his breath at the nape of my neck. A firm grasp settled at my waist, his fingers tracing over my curves, taking their time, exploring. A slow exhale, a moment of stillness, then a gentle pull, guiding me where he wanted me, where they both did. My breath stuttered as I felt the pressure, the slow, deliberate stretch that left me gasping. My hands trembled, my body adjusting, welcoming the new rhythm that took over, moving me between them, surrounding me completely. At first, it was patient testing, coaxing, giving me time to absorb everything. But soon it deepened, quickened, my body following instinctively, letting go. My fingers curled, my skin burning under their touch, every inch of me attuned to their rhythm. I gave myself over to it, let myself be moved, guided. Filled with nothing but heat and sensation, James gripped my chin, tilting my face up, meeting his dark eyes filled with hunger. His mouth found mine, warm and commanding, stealing the last of my breath as I gave in completely. My pulse roared in my ears. I barely registered the soft creak of the door. the murmured voices, familiar voices. Rachel's tone, playful and indulgent. She's beautiful like this, isn't she? A new touch. Rachel's fingertips ghosting down my spine, her nails dragging lightly, possessively. David's voice, low with satisfaction. She belongs here. A shift. David's hands exploring, guiding, claiming. My mind blurred, my body surrendered fully, given freely to the movement, the heat, the sensation. Everything pulsed warmth, rhythm, breath. The hum of pleasure filling the space. I was weightless, untethered, drowning in the hands and mouths that worshipped me. The pace deepened. My body moulded between them. Every inch of me ignited. It built higher, hotter, a fire consuming everything in its path until it crested and shattered. My body convulsed, trembling against the warmth that surrounded me. My breath stolen, my thoughts dissolving into the overwhelming waves that crashed over me again and again. I barely noticed James's hand still trailing over my skin, smoothing, soothing, keeping me grounded. A slow, teasing kiss from Olivia at my shoulder, another from Rachel along my jaw, a gentle murmur from James against my ear. The world around me was hazy. Bodies still moving, still indulging. The scent of warmth and satisfaction heavy in the air, mixed with the faint ocean breeze from South Beach. Rachel's fingers traced lazily down my arm, her voice a knowing purr. "Told you you'd love it," she said. My body still trembled. The last waves of pleasure leaving me weightless, dazed. The air was thick with warmth, the scent of cologne and skin clinging to me, grounding me in the moment. I had let go of every hesitation, every restraint, and I had loved it. My breath steadied, but my mind spun. The Emily who had walked into this Miami club tonight felt distant, like a version of me I had already outgrown. I had given in completely, tasted something I never thought I would. And now a slow, thrilling hunger coiled deep inside me, tempting, lingering. Rachel's fingers brushed over my arm again, her voice smooth with amusement. "So, think you'll make this a habit I didn't answer right away? Just let the question hang. My body still humming, my thoughts racing with possibilities. The night had changed me, and I wasn't ready to let it end."
Phần mở rộng câu chuyện.
The room fell silent, the weight of Rachel's question settling over me like the warm Miami air. I looked at her, then at David, James, Olivia, and Ryan, their eyes all on me, waiting, curious. The distant hum of South Beach's nightlife filtered through the walls, a reminder of the world outside, but I was still caught in the haze of this one. My skin buzzed, my heart steady but alive with something new, a hunger I didn't want to quiet. I stood, smoothing my dress, the fabric clinging to my skin. "Let's get some air," I said, my voice low but firm. James raised an eyebrow, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Bossy already?" Rachel laughed, standing and linking her arm with mine. "She's a natural." David followed, his gaze steady, approving. Olivia and Ryan exchanged a look, then joined us, their steps easy, unhurried. We stepped out of the club into the warm, salty night, the neon lights of South Beach casting a glow across the street. The ocean was just blocks away, its rhythm a faint pulse beneath the city's energy. I led the way, my heels clicking against the pavement, the group trailing behind me like they were drawn to my pull. We walked toward the beach, the sand soft under my feet as I kicked off my shoes. The others followed, shedding their own, the warm grains grounding us after the intensity of the club. The moon hung low, silver light dancing on the waves. I stopped at the water's edge, letting the tide lap at my toes. "This place?" I said, turning to them. "It's alive, isn't it?" Rachel nodded, her hair catching the breeze. "Miami has a way of pulling you in." David stood beside her, his hand resting lightly on her back. "You fit right in." "Emily?" he said, his voice warm but knowing. I looked at James, Olivia, and Ryan, their faces softened by the moonlight. "What now?" I asked, my voice steady but curious. Olivia stepped closer, her smile playful. "Whatever you want," she said. "You're calling the shots tonight." A thrill ran through me at her words. I wasn't the hesitant woman who'd walked into the club hours ago. I was something else, someone in control, someone unafraid to chase what she wanted. "Let's stay out here," I said. "Just for a while." We sat on the sand, the group forming a loose circle, the waves a steady backdrop. Rachel leaned back on her elbows, her gaze on the horizon. "You surprised me tonight," she said. "I knew you were curious, but I didn't expect you to dive in like that." I laughed softly, digging my toes into the sand. "Neither did I." James sat beside me, his shoulder brushing mine. "You're a quick learner," he said, his voice low, teasing. I met his eyes, holding his gaze. I had good teachers. The conversation flowed easily, the group sharing stories of nights like this, of moments that pushed boundaries and broke rules. David talked about how he and Rachel had started exploring, how it had changed them, made them closer. Olivia admitted she'd been nervous her first time, too, but found freedom in letting go. Ryan was quieter, but his glances spoke volumes, his presence steady, attentive. I listened, soaking it in, feeling the weight of my own transformation. The Emily who'd been stuck in routine, craving something more, was gone. In her place was someone bold, alive, hungry for more. As the night deepened, the air grew cooler, but the heat between us didn't fade. I stood, brushing the sand from my dress. "Let's go back," I said. "I'm not done." Rachel's laugh rang out, sharp and delighted. "Told you she'd get hooked," she said to David, who just grinned. We walked back to the club, the streets of South Beach alive with music and laughter, the energy infectious. Inside, the atmosphere was the same warm, charged, inviting. But this time, I didn't hesitate. I led the way to the bar, ordered a round of drinks, and turned to the group, to new experiences. I said, raising my glass. They echoed the toast, their eyes locked on me, expectant. We didn't stay at the bar long. I nodded toward the velvet curtain, my pulse quickening. "Let's go," I said, my voice steady, commanding. James's smile was slow, approving, as he followed. Rachel linked her arm with mine, whispering, "You're unstoppable." Olivia and Ryan trailed behind, their steps light, eager. David brought up the rear, his presence a quiet anchor. Behind the curtain, the room felt familiar now, its warmth and intimacy no longer daunting. I took the lead, guiding James to a plush seat, my hands steady as I pressed him down. His eyes never left mine, dark and hungry. I turned to Olivia, pulling her close, my lips brushing hers in a kiss that was soft but deliberate. Ryan watched, his gaze intense, waiting for my cue. Rachel and David stood nearby, their touches light but present, ready to join when I signalled. I set the pace, my movements sure, confident. James's hands found my waist, but I guided them, showing him where I wanted to be touched. Olivia's fingers trailed over my shoulders, her breath warm against my neck. Ryan stepped closer, his touch tentative at first, then bolder as I nodded my approval. Rachel's laugh was soft, approving, as she joined, her hands weaving into the rhythm I created. David's presence was steady, his touches grounding me, keeping me centered as the intensity built. The air thickened, the music a distant hum, the world narrowing to just us. Every touch, every breath, was a response to my lead. I moved between them, guiding, claiming, surrendering only when I chose to. James's hands were firm, his lips insistent, but I matched his intensity, pushing back, setting the tempo. Olivia's touch was softer, teasing, her kisses a counterpoint to Ryan's steady, deliberate pressure. Rachel and David wove in and out, their touches blending seamlessly with the others, creating a rhythm that was all-consuming. It built slowly at first, each moment deliberate, each touch a spark that fed the fire. My body responded, alive, attuned to every sensation. I let go, not out of surrender but out of choice, embracing the heat, the connection, the power of being the centre of it all. When it crested, it was like a wave crashing over me, intense, overwhelming, but controlled. My breath caught, my body trembled, and I held on to the moment, letting it carry me until it subsided, leaving me breathless but satisfied. We collapsed together, limbs tangled, breaths heavy, the room quiet except for the soft hum of our breathing. Rachel's hand rested on my arm, her smile lazy but knowing. "You're a natural," she said. James chuckled, his hand still tracing lazy patterns on my back. "She's more than that," he said. Olivia and Ryan lay nearby, their faces flushed, their eyes still on me. David's voice was low, steady. "You belong here, Emily." I didn't respond right away, just let their words settle, my body still humming with the afterglow. The night had been a revelation, a door I'd walked through without looking back. But it wasn't enough. The hunger was still there, sharper now, demanding more. I sat up, my gaze moving over them. "We're not done," I said, my voice firm, a smile curling my lips. Not tonight. The next morning, I woke to the sound of waves crashing against South Beach. The sun filtered through the hotel room Rachel had booked for us, just a block from the club. My body ached, but it was a good ache, a reminder of everything we'd done. I slipped out of bed, leaving the others sleeping. James sprawled across the sheets. Olivia curled against Ryan. Rachel and David tangled together. I stepped onto the balcony, the warm Miami air wrapping around me, the ocean stretching out before me. My mind raced, replaying the night, the touches, the moments I'd taken control. I wasn't the same Emily anymore. I was someone new, someone who craved this freedom, this intensity. Rachel joined me, a coffee mug in her hand, her hair messy but her smile bright. "You okay?" she asked, leaning against the railing. I nodded, sipping my own coffee. More than okay. She studied me, her eyes knowing. "You're hooked, aren't you?" I laughed softly, the sound carrying over the waves. "Maybe." She grinned. "Good, because we're going out again tonight. There's another spot, a little more exclusive, a little more intense." My pulse quickened at the thought, but I kept my voice steady. "I'm in." We spent the day exploring South Beach, walking the boardwalk, the sun warm on our skin, the air filled with the scent of salt and sunscreen. We stopped at a cafe, laughing over mimosas and fresh seafood, the group easy with each other, the tension from the night before simmering beneath every glance. James teased me about my newfound confidence, his hand brushing mine under the table. Olivia and Ryan shared stories of their own nights in Miami, their voices light but their eyes heavy with meaning. Rachel and David watched me, their smiles approving, like they'd known all along I'd fit into their world. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, we returned to the hotel to change. I chose a red dress this time, bold, unapologetic, the fabric hugging my curves like a second skin. The club Rachel had mentioned was hidden behind an unmarked door in a quieter part of South Beach, its entrance guarded by a single bouncer who nodded at Rachel like he knew her well. Inside, the atmosphere was different, darker, more intense, the air thick with anticipation. I didn't hesitate this time. I led the way, my confidence unshaken, my hunger driving me forward. The night unfolded like the one before, but bolder, deeper. I set the pace, guiding James, Olivia, Ryan, Rachel, and David through a dance of touches and whispers, my body the centre of their attention. Each moment was mine to shape, each reaction a response to my lead. The music pulsed, the lights dimmed, and I let myself go, embracing the heat, the connection, the power. When it ended, we were breathless, tangled together, the room spinning with the intensity of it all. As we left the club, the Miami night still alive around us, Rachel pulled me aside. "You're not just a guest anymore," she said, her voice low, serious. "You're one of us." I smiled, my heart racing with the truth of her words. I wasn't just Emily anymore. I was someone who had tasted freedom, who had claimed it, and I wasn't letting it go.